In the entire world of numerology, there's one number that just holds more raw power than any other, Mulonk 1. So today, we're going to dive deep into the psychology of these people, the sons of our human world. They're the natural-born leaders who shine so brightly, but they can also burn. Just think about it for a second. Everything revolves around the sun. It is the one single source of all energy, all life, all authority. And that, right there, that single, powerful idea, that's the key to understanding the personality, the drive, and honestly the destiny of everyone born under the influence of the number 1. So who exactly are these sun people we're talking about? Well, in numerology, they're the ones governed by Mulonk 1. Their entire fundamental nature is to lead, to shine, and to be right at the center of it all. And you've got to understand, this connection is super direct. Mulonk 1 isn't just a number. It's like a mirror of the sun's core attributes, that massive energy, that natural authority, and this fierce, unshakable sense of individuality. Fundamentally, these people are just not built to work for someone else. So you might be wondering, hey, is this me? Well, it's actually really simple. If you were born on the 1st, the 10th, the 19th, or the 28th of any month, then yep, this is you. And why these specific dates? Because when you break them down and add the digits together, like for the 19th, you take 1 plus 9, you get 10, and 1 plus 0, that's 1. Or the 28th, 2 plus 8 is 10. Again, it all comes back down to the number 1. And this really gets to the heart of who they are. They are simply not designed to be followers. It doesn't matter if they're at home, in the office, or just hanging out with friends, their mind just automatically slips into that alpha leadership role. They have a vision for how things should be, and they want the world to move accordingly. But here's the catch. This incredible power, it is a true double-edged sword. For anyone who's a Mulonk 1, their greatest strengths are, so often, the very source of their biggest, most difficult challenges. Okay, so let's just take their confidence, for example. On one hand, they have this fearless, absolutely unbreakable self-belief. When a project is totally falling apart, they're the ones who step up, take command, and fix it. But that exact same confidence, it can curdle into this blinding ego, and suddenly, they stop listening to anyone else. And it's the exact same story with their vision. I mean, they are born leaders, they can see the big picture when no one else can, but this is often paired with this deep-seated, almost infuriating impatience. They want things done their way, and they want it done right now. If you disagree, you're going to run headfirst into a brick wall of stubbornness, a conviction that their way is the only way. And this leads to something really surprising, a kind of psychological paradox. Outwardly, they command every single room they walk into. They are the natural center of attention. But on the inside, they often feel this profound, deep sense of loneliness. It's that classic, it's lonely at the top feeling. They feel isolated, and they feel like they can't show any vulnerability because, in their mind, that would just make them look weak. All right, so we've talked about the theory, but what does this intense duality actually look like in the real world? Well, we see it play out in the two most critical areas of life: their career, which they often conquer, and their relationships, which, let's just say, they often complicate. Professionally, it's pretty clear where they fit. They absolutely thrive in any environment where they have autonomy, where they're in charge. That's why you so often find them in top management, as CEOs or directors. You see them in politics or as entrepreneurs. I mean, they love the thrill of building something from nothing. Even fields like cutting-edge scientific research or competitive sports appeal to their deep-seated desire to just be number 1. This is exactly why they feel completely suffocated in a typical 9-to-5 job, where they're just following someone else's orders. They are calculated risk takers. They need to be on the front line, whether it's launching a new product or expanding into a new market. That's their fuel. It's what puts them miles ahead of everybody else. But think about this. That same drive for dominance that's so great for business, it raises a massive question for their personal life. Can someone who is so used to being the center of the universe really, truly handle it when their partner starts to shine just as brightly or maybe even brighter? And this is where the conflict really kicks in. On the positive side, don't get me wrong, they are incredibly loyal, responsible, and committed partners. They will support their partner's growth. They genuinely want them to succeed. But almost unconsciously, that dominating nature starts to take over. They become the boss at home, wanting to control all the major decisions, and it can feel incredibly suffocating for the other person.
The biggest issue of all, though, really comes down to communication. That powerful ego makes it almost impossible for them to show any vulnerability. Simple phrases like, I'm sorry, or I was wrong, or even I need you. Those are incredibly difficult for them to say. Because to them, it feels like a surrender of power. And this, of course, creates a huge emotional distance in their relationships.
Okay, now I want you to really think about this for a second. An individual who has to be number one at work, who has to be in control at home, and who is constantly pushing down their own emotions. This intense, high-pressure lifestyle, it has a serious, serious internal cost. You can think of their mind and their body like a high-performance engine that is just constantly running at maximum capacity. There are no breaks, no chance to cool down. It's pretty much inevitable that eventually it's going to overheat and start to break down. And this isn't just a metaphor, it directly translates into real health problems. That relentless drive and the constant need for control lead to severe mental stress. And that stress, in turn, often shows up physically as high blood pressure, migraines, anxiety, and because their routines are so chaotic, a lot of stomach issues. It's literally the price they pay for always being on. So, is it all doom and gloom? Absolutely not. What's the solution here? How can this powerful engine learn to run without completely breaking down? Well, the path lies in taming their inner fire, not putting it out. It's all about finding balance. And there's a path forward, really in 4 practical steps. First, they have to channel that immense energy through things like intense exercise or yoga. Second, they have to calm that overactive mind with practices like meditation. Third, and this is a big one, they can start to dissolve that ego by engaging in some kind of selfless service. And fourth, a simple but powerful one, master that impatience with a simple 10-second pause before reacting to anything. This really represents the ultimate journey for a Mulonk 1 person. The moment they shift their mindset from ruling for myself to leading for others. When they start using their incredible power to help society, something magical happens. Their ego naturally starts to dissolve, and they find that genuine respect and inner peace that they were always craving in the first place. So at the end of the day, here's the big takeaway. Mulonk 1 people are the engines that drive our world forward. They are the innovators, the leaders, the visionaries. But to fulfill their absolutely incredible potential, their power has to be balanced with compassion, their ambition with patience, and their ego with a little bit of understanding. And so we end right where we began, with the sun. The sun gives life, it gives light, and it gives warmth. But when its heat is uncontrolled, it can also scorch and destroy. So, for anyone who recognizes this powerful energy in themselves, or maybe in someone they know, the final question is this. Is your inner fire a torch that lights the way for others, or is it a heat that burns everything and everyone around you?